Welcome to the Architecture Corner. Today, we're diving into how to roll out new software features. Well, with grace, not giant explosions. I think we've all felt that fear, right?
Right.
Especially with complex systems like AWS Step Functions. We're looking at a really significant leap forward for doing seamless updates.
Precisely. Yeah, the challenge of deploying new code without that sort of big bang hitting all users at once, it's always been huge. We'll explore how a recent AWS feature really changes the game. It makes gradual, low-risk releases actually practical for step functions, building on some great insights from Mario Bittencourt's work.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. What is the big problem with those traditional all-at-once releases, particularly when you're dealing with something orchestrated like a step function?
Well, I mean, even with solid peer reviews, automated tests, you push a new feature to everyone instantly, and you're always running the risk of some widespread bug. And for step functions, where they orchestrate lots of smaller tasks, a new feature often means changing the actual flow. Trying to control that rollout before with just a simple feature flag, it could turn into this complex, time-consuming nightmare of branching logic. Honestly, sometimes debugging the flags took longer than building the feature.
Hmm. Yeah, I think many of us have been there. So this is where versions and aliases come in. How do they rescue us from that complexity?
They offer really elegant control, actually. A version is essentially just a snapshot of your step function definition at a point in time. So you make changes, you create a new version. Simple, it lets you target a specific known flow. But the real power, well, that comes with aliases.
Aliases, okay, like dynamic labels or nicknames for your code versions.
Exactly. Think of it just like that, a dynamic label. And what's really fascinating here is an alias can point to one, or get this, two specific versions at the same time. And you get to define the traffic split. Imagine sending, say, just 10% of your executions to the new version, while the other 90% keeps going to the old stable one.
Ah, so you can actually test the waters, this traffic split. That sounds like a really powerful way to de-risk things. Can you walk us through a practical example? How would that progressive rollout look?
Okay, sure. Consider this. You've got your stable process, that's version 1. Your production alias points right at it, 100%. Now you develop a cool new feature, maybe improve efficiency, and you save that as version 2. Instead of flipping the switch for everyone, you just update that production alias. Tell it to send a tiny percentage, like maybe just 1% of traffic, over to version 2. And this lets you watch closely, monitor how the new version behaves with real users, catching any unexpected issues super early. Like in the example Mario Bittencourt shared, they spotted timeout errors on V2 almost immediately.
Right, because only 1% is affected. And then, assuming things look good, you just gradually increase that percentage, 10%, 50%, until eventually 100% of traffic is on the new version. That sounds incredibly flexible.
Yeah.
But are there situations where that percentage split isn't quite enough? Like, what if you need more granular control over who sees the new version?
That's a really good point. Yeah, sometimes your routing needs are more complex, right? Maybe it's based on a customer subscription tier or their region or even like the value of their order. You can still use versions and aliases here, but instead of configuring the split inside the step function alias settings, you'd set up separate aliases. So you might have blue pointing to version 1 and green pointing to version 2, and then the routing logic, the bit that decides which alias to invoke that lives in your initiating code, your Lambda function or API gateway, whatever kicks it off, that gives you, ultimate flexibility for those really custom scenarios.
Okay, that makes sense. So, pulling back a bit, what's the bigger picture here? What does this capability really mean for developers and for services that absolutely need to run 24/7 with zero downtime?
Yeah, I mean, it fundamentally changes how we approach deployment risk. It's moving away from just hoping for the best towards actually designing for resilience. Progressive deployment strategies, things like Canary releases or blue-green deployments, they're not really a luxury anymore. They're becoming a necessity. This AWS release for step functions, it finally bridges a really crucial gap. It gives you built-in tools that are robust enough for most situations, but it still offers that flexibility for the complex edge cases. It's all about building confidence right into your release pipeline.
A very clever, very necessary solution. Thanks so much for helping us unpack all of this today. For more insights and to stay well informed, definitely check the description for more information. And also a reminder to subscribe for free to the Architecture Corner newsletter over at architecturecorner.substack.com. We'll catch you next time.